The tiny Pacific island of Tuvalu is facing an urgent battle against rising seas. With tides projected to flood half of the main island by 2050, the nation's 11,000 people are watching their land disappear. But Tuvalu isn't just standing still. From building artificial land to pushing for global recognition of its borders, this small nation is fighting for its future as the waters continue to rise. Here's more on the story.
In the heart of the Pacific, there's a tiny nation fighting an omnipresent and relentless enemy, the rising sea. Tuvalu, home to just 11,000 people, is a collection of 9 fragile atolls, where the ocean is slowly swallowing the land. NASA scientists project that by 2050, daily tides will flood half of Funafuti, the main atoll where 60% of Tuvalu's population lives. Villages cling to a narrow strip of land, but that land will slowly vanish.
It's an emotional one, and it's not a fair situation from our end that we are facing the brutal impacts of this crisis that we contribute very little to. And what's endangered is our identity to our land, our identity as Tuvaluans, and the future of our children and our descendants. And that's very concerning.
Hence, in a bid to secure the future, the country has already created 17.3 acres of artificial land. They're planning more, hoping these man-made islands will stay above water until the year 2100. Still, the question of what happens when the ocean finally overtakes their islands looms large.
What we advocate for is the clear path of people to move when it comes to worst-case scenarios. And the Firstpost Treaty has put us that, have shown a clear path. But it's supposed to be a plan B, not a plan A.
Tuvalu recently signed a landmark treaty with Australia. It provides a path for 280 Tuvaluans each year to migrate to Australia starting from next year. This will give many an escape, but not everyone wants to leave. Some say they will stay even as the tides rise to preserve the nation's sovereignty.
We do have a plan to move somewhere else, like another country. Maybe Australia. That's the plan.
Yeah, it's a very hard decision to make because we have to leave our country. And to leave a country, we have to leave aside the culture that we were born with.
But at the same time, Tuvalu is also fighting a bigger battle. They want to change international law to protect their maritime boundaries and statehood, even if their island is submerged. On Wednesday, Tuvalu's Prime Minister, Felete Teo, addressed the United Nations General Assembly. He sought support for a campaign that could secure Tuvalu's future, at least legally.
We expect the declaration to include the following. Firstly, to ascertain the principle of statehood continuity as a tenet of international law and international cooperation, and to affirm that statehood cannot be challenged under any circumstances of sea level rise. Our membership in the United Nations and its specialized agency is permanent, notwithstanding the impact of climate change.
The UN's International Law Commission has shown some support for Tuvalu's case, but not everyone agrees. Some nations are hesitant to change the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, leaving Tuvalu in a legal limbo.
Sea level rise is a global and a multi-dimensional phenomenon that requires global action and prompt response. No nation, no community can address it alone. For small island developing countries, sea level rise poses an existential threat to our economies, to our culture and heritage, and to the land that nourished our ancestors for centuries. The existential threat we face is not of our making. but it will remake us.
Still, they continue to fight, and they are not alone. Their Pacific neighbours, the 18 members of the Pacific Islands Forum, have already declared the region's maritime boundaries are fixed. But because not all countries are on board, foreign fishing fleets still roam the Pacific. And without wider recognition, the risk of illegal fishing remains high. So, with their islands threatened by the sea, the people of Tuvalu are standing firm, building, negotiating and seeking protection. And as the tides continue to rise, so does their call for justice, for a future where even in the face of rising waters, their identity and sovereignty remain unsinkable. Before the ocean claims their islands, Tuvalu hopes the world will hear and act before time finally runs out.